Welcome to the Chrysalis Temple, a sacred portal where the quantum meets the mystical. We awaken timelines, dissolve limits, and embody the frequency of your highest self. Welcome back to the Chrysalis Temple Podcast. This is your sacred space for deep cellular remembrance, alchemical transformation, and coming back to your divine feminine power. In today's episode, we're going to be going in once again very deep. This is a multi-layered, multifaceted topic. We're going to be talking about the sacred cycles, the menstrual cycle, the phases of the cycle. And we're not only going to be talking about the physical scientific aspect of the cycles and what happens hormonally. We're going to be getting into the metaphysical and spiritual aspect of our cycles and the spirituality behind our womb being a cosmic portal, really a space where we create not only physical life but ideas that are birthed through the womb, how important it is for a woman to be in deep connection with the womb, the portal of creation within her, and all the seasons of the cycles that she experiences, right? So very deep, multi-layered topic, and I hope I can do it justice in this episode. So as usual, before we begin, let's really just create a sacred space where you get to drop in, really be present, and allow the transmission to occur and allow the information, the golden nugget to come through on a deep cellular layer, right? So as we're getting into the topic of cycles and the womb, let's really reconnect with the womb space. So when you're ready, just take a deep inhalation into your womb. You can bring your hands to your belly if that feels good. Just inhaling deeply in and feeling what you feel, and allowing yourself to exhale and release any tensions, any worries, any expectations, letting all of that go. And really just setting the intention to reconnect with the portal of your womb. Set the intention to listen, receive the messages. Your womb is always sending you messages, but the intention to really listen to the messages your womb is bringing forth for you. Yeah. And when you're ready, just coming back, and let's begin this episode. So let's start with why this topic is first very near and dear to my heart. And I think, yes, right now more and more women are waking up to the importance of their menstrual cycle, how much of a role it plays in their overall physical health, right? And you know, being a woman, I see that for myself as well, having gone through my own kind of journey with the cycles, with from all kinds of different things, right? And coming to this realization of how much it matters, and this connection to our cycles, to living in this cyclical kind of nature with our cycles is how important it is for us, right? And that's something that, again, has been repressed and suppressed in our society. We have not been given really enough information about it. It's been kind of put on the back burner. It's been hidden from us. It's been really demonized in a way as well. So all of this, like if you take at our society right now, at the way we function, we all go by the 24-hour cycle. We wake up in the morning, we do our things, we go to work, we do da 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 da, and the nighttime we go to sleep. And while that serves us good too, but for women it can be detrimental because we don't take into account our cyclical nature of the menstrual cycle. So we don't take the menstrual cycle into consideration, where we've been for many generations have been told it's just something you have to deal with as a woman, right? Oh, well, we're just kind of, have this inconvenience of a menstrual cycle and we just have to deal with it. But is that really the truth? Is that what the cycle is, an inconvenience? Because of the cycle, being a menstruating woman, you are able to literally create life within your womb. You are able to really bring in a soul and physicalize it, materialize it, and bring it into this world. So how can your cycle just be an inconvenience? Why would it be something to be demonized? Maybe we have to take a different look at our cycles and notice the treasure that it is, the connection that it provides to our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, our spirituality at the highest level, because it's a spiritual phenomenon, right? It's not only physical. Right now we're learning more and more and more every day that so much of what we've been told to do for our health, for our happiness, for our joy has been based on the men's 24-hour cycle, but we operate differently, right? We've for so long have been almost looked at as miniature men, a smaller version of men, but we're not. We are wired differently, right? There's, of course, so much overlap, but when it comes to our hormones, reproductive, we are different. And that's why it works. That's why the feminine and the masculine come in together and create the perfect union, right? We need that, but we're overlooking women's nature. We have been overlooking women's nature, and now many more women are waking up to their how much their cycle affects everything, right? Let's start off from the beginning, how it affects you physically, your hormones. Our hormones are not the same day to day. They change week to week based on this 28 day. I will say 28 because that's the most common. Of course, there's variations in between this, but I will use 28 as it is like that middle ground, so related to how it is for you. So our hormones change based on the 28-day cycle. It's not day to day. We don't wake up with the high and then go to sleep with the low, how usually men are, right? It's not the 24-hour thing. It's more day by days. And we're expected to kind of go out there and work and perform and be the same person day to day when our hormones don't support it. And that's when so many things, hormonal imbalances, come in, because we've just been told once again that our cycles are inconvenient. We repress them, we kind of demonize them, we dissociate with the cycle. We think that this is something that we just have to live through because we were born woman. But it is our greatest gift, and we're uncovering that slowly right now, slowly coming back to that realization. We are going through seasons, right? Each cycle is like a season, just like nature has seasons, right? We don't tell nature that she's inconvenient and an inconvenience, that she's wrong, that her timing is not right, that how could we go into autumn after summer, or why do we have to go through with. No, we accept nature as she is, and therefore we have to accept our own cyclical nature as it is, and learn how we can flow with that kind of cycle, how we can flow with these seasons within us and make the most of it, and really discover and reawaken, reignite the power that it holds. So we can't be expected to work the same day to day, because we don't operate like that, right? We have our each phase of the cycle is related to a phase. Like, there's phases of the cycle, and then that phase is related to the season in nature. So a lot has been coming out around cycle syncing. So how you work out as a woman, how you do everyday kind of things, how you nourish your body, how you go about life. You connect it to your cycle and go with that, right? And see how much of that changes. So there's like, so, and it's based on these the phases, and each phase being related to the phase in nature, right? To the seasons. I'm forgetting my words. To the seasons of nature. So your menstruation is usually winter, right? It's like that deep winter where everything is just so kind of dead and cold and just dreary, right? Then we have our, after menstruation, we go into the follicular stage. That is your spring. That is when things begin. After winter, we go into spring. That is when you finally start to regain your energy, and you begin to blossom, to get that spark back, to get the focus back, because in winter you don't have that focus. In your menstruation, you're just kind of, you're taking it very easy, you're laying low, so to say. And so then after your spring, where you begin to blossom and regain your energy, we go into the ovulation phase, which is the summer, where everything is really like popping now. Your energy is at the highest. you're vibrant, you're social, you just want to be center stage and have fun, just like everybody wants to have fun in the summer, hang out, tan, eat all the wonderful fruits, swim, go on vacations. That's your ovulation. And then, of course, after ovulation, after summer, everything begins to simmer down. We go into autumn or the luteal phase, and we begin the deep preparation for the winter. We kind of begin to retreat, energy levels are dropping, we become more introspective, right? We begin kind of like a shadow work period. We're going through all of these things, what has kind of like in a review, what has worked in ovulation and the follicular stage and what still needs to be worked. So that kind of thing. So that's kind of how the cycle syncing looks like, more or less physically, right? So there's certain things, there's lots of information on that out too. So what you should be doing in each of the phases when it comes to your fitness, let's say, how you work out. So in your luteal and your menstrual, you might want to not even really work out in your menstrual if you don't feel that good. But if you feel you have the energy, you can take it very slow, movement, stretches, right? In your luteal, you do more of your walking. You're not doing full on cardio, right? You're if you're strength training, maybe you don't get such heavy weights. Whatever it is, you adjust. You don't push yourself over that limit, right? Because you are slowly retreating, right? And you don't have as much energy. And so in your during your ovulation and your follicular stages, you have more energy, you're more focused, you're more determined. That's when you can pick up heavier, that's when you can do a lot more cardio, that's when you're just out there and really living life, and your hormones are changing, right, with the stages as well. So you I don't remember exactly, but you'd have to look that up. So you look at the hormones, how your hormones changes. If you have hormonal imbalances, that's where you would kind of need to look at, okay, well, how do I begin to connect with my cycle deeper? And how do I connect with my cycle deeper and start looking at how my hormones change and how hormones should change during these stages, and notice where you're at and how it's going. Then you take the steps necessary to do the kind of fitness during each of the stages, right? And then there's also foods that are supporting each of the stages, right? You know when it's better for you to consume, let's say, something that I love so much, coffee. When in your luteal, it's you shouldn't be relying on coffee as much to take in to kind of get that energy back, because we really do start losing a lot of the energy, and we just drink more coffee and go out there and do the things that everybody's doing, instead of being like, okay, my energy is really low, I'm in my luteal, I have to, maybe I'll drink a cacao, maybe a matcha, maybe just some tea to bring it down, right? Not pump yourself with coffee and continue that kind of thing. Then there are certain foods that are best for you to eat during your follicular and ovulation phases in order to provide you with the nutrients later on in the cycle where you will need more support, like in your menstrual and your luteal. And there's really so much information about that right now. I don't have the recipes and all the things for you, but I'm sure you can look those things up. One of the things I would suggest, the book that I loved so much, and it's so great for also if you have hormonal imbalances, if you're going through perimenopause, things like that, right? I would suggest to look at the book Fast Like a Girl. Beautiful, wonderful book that helps you to get in touch with your cycle, how to again, cycle syncing, and what foods are best to eat in each phase of your cycle. And if you want to balance your hormones, if you have any kind of I don't remember what other like hormonal issues, if you have autoimmune, if you have, thyroid issues, if you're just stuck and you can't seem to be to lose weight, right? So much information in there where how to actually do the fast and get yourself back to your natural rhythm, to your natural state of being through fasting based on cycles, and what kind of foods are best to consume during each of the phases. So I would suggest that if you really want to go deeper into cycle syncing, look into that. Now, the other side of physical cycle syncing is that also how you, for example, if you are able to, how to schedule your month, let's say, based on your cycle. So, for example, having to do more like meetings with people, deals, things where you need to be more social, you schedule that around your follicular and ovulation phases, so that you are more magnetic, you're more present, focused, sharp. You have more energy, you exude a certain magnetism, right? You're just there, you're present in this like social environment, right? And then do a lot more of your more planning, your maybe review and slowing down during your luteal and your menstrual phases. So once again, like I said, there's a lot more information that you can look up on that when it comes to the way you cycle sync, when it comes to foods you consume, fitness you should do, how to schedule your calendar based on your phases, right? And so let's now get into more of the spiritual aspect of the cycle. And so the spiritual aspect of the cycles and the womb, really, right? Really, what I said before, that the womb is it's a temple. It is it's a portal. It is a cosmic portal. It is the creation space, right? And I think so many women have disconnected from their womb space. It's just seen as just an organ, right? It's not just an organ. It's literally the organ that holds, creates, nurtures life, right? The soul that incarnated, and you're materializing it within you, within your own body. Like, mind blowing. First of all, if you really truly um think about it, it's mind blowing, right? It's wow. um and so it represents this creation, right? It represents it's really like the what I've said before. It is the microcosm of the macrocosm. It is, we get to create life, to birth through our body, through the womb, just like the great mother creates all, right? If we think of God as a feminine, as a mother, a great mother, right? And we're all created from the great mother's womb. We are all birthed from a woman. Men, women, we all come from a woman. Literally, how we get to incarnate on earth is through a woman, through that portal. It is a portal because it combines the spiritual realm with the material realm, right? It is from the cosmos down into the earthly, that it's that bridge, right? And the cycle itself is spiritual. It's not like I've said, physically we have the four stages, right? And how we move about life through these four stages, the foods we consume, the way we schedule and plan our month based on the cycle. But then we have to look at the cycle as a spiritual initiation. Every month, every 28 days, we go through transformation, literal transformation on all layers of our being. And just think about that. How much more metaphysical and spiritual can it get? We start off with, again, menstruation being the death portal. We are dying to all the things that are no longer serving us: thoughts, emotions, energies around us, ideas, stories. We're dying to that version of us. And then we move into the follicular stage as the rebirth process, right? As that spring, and we're beginning to get our wings to transform. We're coming out of the cocoon, out of the chrysalis of death, to gaining our wings and coming out and blooming. And in this phase, we are once again in this rebirth. We are focusing on this new version of ourselves, right? This is where our planning comes in. This is where our focus is in that rebirth period. And then we move into ovulation as the phase of creation, when and it's also very metaphysical, right? During ovulation is when women get pregnant, creating life within. Same spiritually, energetically, this is when you create. This is when the seeds begin to germinate and come alive, and you create, right? Your ideas. You are their center stage. And then in the fourth stage, we move into the luteal, and that is when we reflect on everything who we've been this whole days prior, the phases prior, who we've been. And again, looking at what kind of needs to go, where we can slow down, what we can simplify, all these things. And then we start the cycle again. So literally every 28th day, we get the chance to become a totally new version of ourselves. That's why in each of the phases, we are a different version of ourselves, really. And so with these the spiritual aspects, we can now also go into deeper reflection, right? We can spiritually attune ourselves even deeper. We get to do shadow work during our luteal, right? We get to look at where we maybe suppressed our emotions, if we've didn't say our truth, where we once again overridden our body's signals when the body said no and we still went and pushed and da 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 da. We get to look at that, right? This is a portal of transformation every 28 days, and a pathway of detoxification. Through the blood, we get to detox. We get to detox emotions. We get to detox all the things that have previously not worked, right? We get to detox that, and we get to start over every 28 days. And so when you reconnect with the womb, when you reconnect with your cycle, you get to attune yourself deeper. You get to listen to yourself, right? Listen to your womb, because each one of the phases, the womb is speaking to you. It is sending you messages through the body to other organs, through these symptoms. Whatever that looks like for you, you get to tune into that and see spiritually, metaphysically, physically, emotionally, hormonally. Look at each one of these things and tune in, because it is sending you messages through your cycle. You are always receiving, you through all of these things, through the symptoms, right, through the hormones, through all of this, you are receiving, and you get a chance to better align yourself to creator, creatrix, to the great mother, to yourself, to really clearing the channel to be able to receive these messages with ease. You get to tune into your emotions deeper. You get to tune into your desires deeper through looking at your cycle in this way, through reconnecting to your womb. And this is really a really deep way to heal and reconnect with that higher consciousness, even awareness within you, right? You get to create that every 28 days, every cycle. You get to do that. You get to awaken the codes that your womb has for you by aligning with the cycles, by aligning to the natural rhythm, to aligning to nature within you and around you. How cool is that? So how is the cycle an inconvenience and something that should be, I don't know, demonized and looked over? I don't know. Like it's so amazing. It's, you have the whole universe and nature within you, and you are nature, and it is reflected through all of this, through this cycle. So you get, you know, you get to do this way of deepening this connection every cycle. How amazing. And so, like I was saying, the before, nature is cyclical, right? And we don't look at nature and go, well, that's not right. That's something to be, to change and to demonize and to disregard. No, we all adjust and live through nature cycles, right? We don't go outside that winter in a swimsuit ready to go to the beach. So don't disregard your cycle. Don't, in your menstrual or luteal phase, push yourself to do everything like you did in your follicular and ovulatory phase. Adjust to that. Find that rhythm, find that balance, find that harmony, and notice how that begins to transform your life. Do you get to tap into more joy? Do you now get to going deeper into your shadow? Like, instead of pushing during luteal phase, you get to sit down and journal symptoms you're feeling, how your hormones are. You get to check that all the time and tune into that and really allow it. Allow these phases to happen. Don't push. Once again, I know our society has created this way of living where we go 24-hour rhythm, but we can't deny that so much of our population, right, half, if we're gonna, I don't know the statistics of how many males to female, but again, even half are women, menstruating women. So how can we disregard their anatomy, their hormones, to just follow this 24-hour rhythm, and everything else is like, no, we don't care. That's just something wrong. No. You are part of nature, and you now get to take that power back instead of trying to suppress it within you, or still trying to do all the things that society deems right, correct, or the way it should be, or treating the cycle as an inconvenience, as a weakness, as, I don't know, right? Take all of that and now tune in. Listen, feel into it. See how much that changes and transforms from month to month, right? So with that, I would say what I would suggest, of course, the thing that really nobody, well, I don't know, but it's the thing that always comes up, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, again with this, but it works. And what I'm talking about is journaling. It works. Okay. Even if it rewires something in your brain when you pick up a piece of paper and you put pen to it, it creates this connection. Physically writing with your hand, it does something. So, and then if you go in deeper and really tune in, you get to unlock a lot of the unconscious things, right? So begin to journal. At first, start with journaling on the cycle, each of the phases. See how long each phase is for you, right? Tuning in to the cycle. For everybody it's different, so tune into that. Journal on what it is like. Journal how your energy is, how your mood is, how emotions maybe, like things like that, right? Track all of that, journal on it, and begin to really tune into really begin to tune inward during luteal and menstrual phases. Something that I didn't mention before, so I'm gonna get to that now, that while in your follicular and ovulation, you are the most magnetic, you are more social and present and focused, right? You're more outward. Then in your luteal and your menstrual, you go inward. And when you go inward, you become more psychically attuned. So women are more, let's say, logical. Now that we're always more attuned to our intuition, to our womb, but in follicular and ovulation, we have more focus. We are more logical, so to say. And then in luteal and menstrual, we are more connected to intuition. We follow more energetic cues than just creating that logical sequence. And it's not bad. It's not something that should be looked down upon. It is part of our nature. It is why so many oracles are women, is because we are spiritually more attuned and we have to use that to our advantage. So during your luteal and your menstrual, you are more attuned spiritually, you are more psychic, you are receiving more information because your focus is more inward. And that is when it's also good to do a lot of shadow work. Notice what works in your life, what doesn't. Take into account those intuitive hits that you get, right? Don't disregard it as that's just my hormones acting up. Maybe not. Maybe that's your energy telling you something. Maybe take a look at that. So why it's important to journal, track the cycle, and then journal deeply during those phases, right? And then you get to from just the journaling, begin to really, as a simple ritual, I would say, you can, again, once you track the cycle, you can then begin to plan life or your tasks or the way you move through the month based on the phase that you are in. So you can, if you are able to, get to schedule your tasks, your life in the way that would best suit you, right? To really be in connection and just in that phase, right, where you're You're not overriding your own energy and emotions and body signals and all of that. So you get to do that, create these the way you move, create, what's the word I'm looking for? You get to schedule and create a schedule that suits you best, like that. That's something to look at. And then with what I've mentioned before, with the food, with fitness, all of that, events, work, all of that. And then another thing I would say, of course, is tuning into the womb, deeply tuning into the womb. So taking, I don't know, take 5 minutes maybe every day to tune into your womb. Maybe right now you're not hearing the messages clearly because you've disconnected so much, you've disregarded the womb so much, but it is your power, your sacred portal of creation. So if you are looking to create change in this world, if you feel you have a big mission as a woman, as a leader, you have to connect with your womb. Tune into it, place your hands and just listen and ask the questions. What do you need? What kind of support? And maybe at first you won't hear it, but it's okay. Keep going. Just maybe it's little nudges of, I just need to relax today. Or today I want to go on an adventure, and do that to the best of your abilities, right? I know so many of us have responsibilities and families and kids and chores to keep up with and all these things. But until we begin to, start taking the time to ourselves for our own self-care. And this self-care, it's not a selfish thing to do. It's something that will bring the spark back to us, where we won't be as annoyed, where we won't be as energetically depleted, where we won't have a mental overload, where we're not dysregulated to the point where any sound just sends us into a frenzy. I mean, we've all had that. I've had that, right? I know what that's like. So you give yourself the space, you give yourself the time, because if you're not gonna give yourself the time, no one else is gonna make that time for you. You have to, as many responsibilities as you have, you still have to put yourself first. You're the one and only person that has you, right? No one's gonna come up to you and be like, here, do this. No, you create that. You, as a woman, as the matriarch, you get to hold that space for yourself, and everybody else's energy will follow. Your kids, your spouse, all of that. So I know, I have those responsibilities as well, homeschooling kids. I do this, clients. My kids have a ton of extracurriculars. I have projects. I have 3 pets. I have a cat, a dog, and a parrot, which all require a lot of time. But that's just a side note. But take that time to yourself as you wake up. Tune into your own energy, tune into the womb. Deep breath in, right? Feel into it. Maybe you need a little stretch, a little movement. That's another thing that's so great for us women. Movement. Move the body, move the hips, open up the energy flow through the body, releasing somatically. When you feel these tensions, release all of that out of the body. And then so moving the body, releasing that. And then another thing that I didn't mention, that making sure uh, you tune into your like joy and your pleasure and your desires, because us as women, we need more oxytocin. That's how we get happy, through oxytocin, the hormone of love, right? We need lots of hugs and cuddles and kisses and that kind of attention through like relationships as well. And so when you tune into your joy, your pleasure, your desires, you get to experience more oxytocin in your life, and that's the hormone that's going to make your mental health so much better. That's going to make like emotional health on all the levels. It's just going to make you happier. And once you are happy again, your energy so magnetic. So as women, we hold so much spiritual energetic power, and we get to really give all of it out to all the people around us then. So tuning into yourself, into your own rhythm, into your cycles, into tracking that, and really allowing each phase to come without denying it, that is going to bring you so much more into balance, into harmony, right? So those are the things that I would suggest, really tracking, first of all, to see where you are, how you feel, what adjustments you need to do when it comes to diets, physical activity, events, da, 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 da. Then really tuning into your womb, receiving messages, and allowing yourself that allowing yourself to receive this, to give yourself even this time, this attention, this care, in order to be in your power, knowing that you are powerful, that your cycle is not to be dismissed. It is a very big part of who you are. It is a big part of the nature of women, and the time has come for us to now bring that back into like it being normal. We can't disregard that. We are not mini men. We are women. Hear us roar. We are powerful. And so I think this is a beautiful way for us to end. If you like this kind of content, if you like the podcast, subscribe, like, leave comments. What did you what is your takeaway from this episode? What shocked you? What information did you know? What didn't you know? Was this helpful? Insights? Let me know. I would love, 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 love to hear from you guys. I always do. And if you ever want to go in deeper, there's plenty of ways to work with me, plenty of ways where you can watch my free content, like breath work, activations, and things like that. If you want a more personalized journey with me, I have one-on-ones where we can work closely, where you can receive my guidance through whatever season of life that you are in. Yeah, subscribe, like, And I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.